Hi again, it's me, Cinnamon. I'm a 24-year-old working a corporate job who loves all things personal finance. And today I want to recap my earning and spending in 2024 so that I can move on and get started with a new budget for 2025. So let's get right into it. So, starting with income, I'm not going to read too many numbers because I'm so bad at reading numbers, one, and I think just getting into the specifics of the numbers doesn't matter too much, but definitely look at my screen and see all of my total income here. Um, my income sources vary from formal ones like my base salary and my signing bonus from work and my stock payout from work, and also things that aren't really considered income by the government, like cash back, but I consider it income. I also had some very random income sources like I got some wage rounding thing on one of my paychecks, stuff like that. Some reimbursements from work, some of which are taxable and some of which aren't taxable. So I separate that out to get prepped for my taxes that I'll be doing very soon. And I also get interest from my high yield savings account and dividends from the stock that I have today that I definitely always right now reinvest. So all in all, across everything, I made $218,275.53 in total income. Um, let's see what I was planning for my yearly budget goals. With my yearly budget goals, I was planning $189,216.18, and this was just considering my base pay and my signing bonus. So the math here is adding up to $179,000, almost $180,000. So I was close to my goal of $189,000. Actually, I really wasn't close because I was like $9,000 off. So I'm going to mark this as red on the income goal. Even though I ended up having higher income overall, my plan was just based off those two income sources, and that's what I track against. So yeah, I kind of failed this goal. Um, what color was I using before? Do these colors match? Yeah, they do match. Oops, that might have been a very distorting experience for you guys. I'm sorry about that. Had to see if the colors match, and they do. So yeah, I already knew this goal was going to be red because once I was red in Q3, there really was no coming back from it. And I think I've explained this a few times in my videos, but why I ended up missing this goal is because I didn't get a promotion when I expected I would get it. I got it like a quarter, well, really 2 quarters later than I was planning. So yeah, I think that means I'm going to be like red on most things. So I'm really just going to focus on recapping the numbers more so than tracking against the goal because I've already known I was going to not hit these goals for a while now. Okay, so income, that was income. Let's get into taxes. I'm going to go to the spending breakdown because I like that view better. So, as you can see, in total this year, I spent $214,000. So, I'm rolling over an extra $4,000 from 2024 into 2025, which is actually nice because I am setting some aggressive goals in 2025. So knowing I come in with a $4,000 worth of cushion is not too bad, especially because I'll probably be owing taxes. So that will probably actually need to go to taxes. But yeah, let's get into the taxes side of things. I'm gonna select none of these. I'm going to select just my taxes category, and I'm not going to click extra taxes because that is taxes that I pay for like the last year that I was owing. So I'm not going to click that. I think we are good here. So let's just do done and see what happens. So in total this year, I've paid $64,239.96 in taxes. And while that is more than what I planned on paying in taxes, I planned on only paying $57,000 in taxes. I think I'm probably still going to owe because, again, this tax calculation considers what I get from my stock payout. I think if I unclick this, I don't know which one I have to unclick. I'll just unclick both of them. Oh, Yeah. So I unclicked that, and I think this shows just what I paid in taxes from my base salary and signing bonus, and that is $51,000. So I'm like $6,000 behind what I should have paid in taxes. I did also make less income, but I only made $9,000 less in income. So I should only be like 4,500 behind. So there's like a $1,500 gap, right? That's how the math should work. Anyway, I don't even want to get into taxes. I'm over it. I'm over 2024, so I'm not going to investigate these numbers too much right now. But yeah, I think I'm going to end up owing in taxes. So let me actually record this number here. I'm going to record both numbers actually because I should do a little tax calculation at some point for my own sanity. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So that is taxes. That is all the boring stuff out of the way, like income taxes. They're mostly out of my control. I haven't been having good control on my tax payments yet. I wanted to do more of that in 2024, setting up my own pipeline for prepaying my taxes because the way my income is going, I'm going to start owing in taxes more often than not because my stock payouts get undertaxed um, just through the default, like that's taken out. It's undertaxed. I think the withholding for it is like the 32%, but I end up paying more than a 32% tax rate. So yeah, I think I'm going to end up owing more. So I do definitely in 2025 need to set up my own pipeline. In 2024, it was like teetering on a pressing issue, but now in 2025, it's going to definitely be a pressing issue. There's no ambiguity that I will face penalties if I don't set up my own tax pipeline. So, yeah, I'm going to take this more seriously. Okay. What I really always want to know about is my spending. Like, how much did I spend? Did I stay within my spending limits? And just in terms of like what my spending categories are, I'm going to select all of them even though there are categories that I make exceptions for. So I'm just going to select all of them before I take out the exception categories. Wow. So all my spending categories, really, this is crazy. Core spending, all of it selected. Getting ahead, all of it selected. Sinking funds, general sinking funds. Wow. All of my spending categories selected, my spending comes out to $52,623.76. That is all of my spending for the year. And I did update everything to close out all of 2024. Like I made sure there was no expense not yet accounted for from my trips and everything. So, wow, I'm actually shocked. I was expecting it to be way higher than that because I think in maybe I wasn't. Maybe in Q3 I wasn't tracking ahead. I think in Q3 I was tracking ahead without making taking off my exception categories. So, my goal for spending in 2024 was $52,000. So I am $600 ahead, but I know that's nothing because a lot of these categories are exception categories. So let's take out some of my exception categories. Work utilities and commuting are exception categories for me because they do get reimbursed. So that is tracked as income um, instead of like me putting it directly into those categories to wipe them out as zero. And the reason I do track it as income is because some of that income is taxable. So I need to keep the records for my accounting purposes. Okay, what else is an exception category? Social activities, like some of it should be an exception category because some of that was spending on other people, but I didn't make a good setup for separating out my like social giving, my friends giving. So I'm just going to continue to include that for now. What else is an exception category? I could take out my giving categories as exception categories. I don't even think I need to do that though to hit this. What else is a definite exception category? Corporate computer scientist. Yeah, that is some spending I do for work trips. So that should also be taken out. I think that should be enough. to get me down. Yeah. So just with like my definitive things that I end up getting reimbursed from work taken out, I'm at $49,000. So that's crazy. Like I feel really good about that. Um, Almost 50% of my spending just goes to my rent. So that's like been crazy. Really surprised that my next big category is good daughter, which is like my giving category. I felt like I did do a good amount of giving to my family this year, but yeah, I wasn't expecting it to come out to 10% of my spending. So yeah, recent things that have come up in December that I probably am not doing a full recap for is I gave $600 to my mom as a gift. I gave $300 to my dad to help him with some visa things. $300 here just going to like my various charities that I'm interested in giving to. Another donation that I made to another charity in November. So I had like a pretty good giving spree recently, actually. So I think that's why this has been high because I set aside money. If you saw my November budget video, I set aside like $1,800 towards giving. So I think that boosted this a lot. I paid for my dad's trip to America this year. That boosted things a lot. Did some, bill stuff for my mom. I'm really actually surprised that this came out so high. Okay, what else? Eating out is pretty high. Again, big reason that I want to make sure I switch over my budget because I think the way if I categorize my eating differently, I think it's actually going to help like with changing my habits. So, eating out high, New York City trips at 7%. I am completely surprised by what these big categories are. I did go to New York a few times this year. I went to New York 3 times this year and spent $3,340. So, the flights, no hotels because I have family there. My boyfriend's family lives there, but just like doing various things with my family there. Um, I don't necessarily do any like super special things when I'm in New York. This might include things from when I flew my dad out to New York and we had like a little family reunion there. And we did more special things because my dad is a little bit more of a tourist. So I wanted to make sure that we like did some of those classic touristy things with him. But I'm just like surprised by this order. Like I was not expecting this order at all. What comes next? Social activities. Like again, surprised by the order, but also not because I know a lot of this is considering things I've done mostly with my boyfriend. But yeah, I feel like it's been a decently social year. I could say it's been a decently social year. Korea coming next at $2,315. Like, I just feel like there's no way I spent that little on my Korea trip. I don't know how the math works out like that, but somehow it does. Yeah, okay. I credited myself with like, I paid for some stuff with my credit card points. So yeah, it was closer to like maybe 3,000 that I ended up reimbursing myself. Yeah, a little sneaky there. Some gifts. Yeah. Okay. I mean, this seems real. This seems real. Let's keep going. Household utilities. Wow, whopping $1,600. Not bad. Like a little over 100 a month for sure. I just haven't been home, so I know I haven't been using these utilities. So again, this is just another category that's like I need to just move out because I don't really live at my house anymore and I'm spending a lot in rent, spending a lot in utilities. Something needs to be done. Okay, aesthetic expenses. What was I paying for? Oh my God, I had a really big shopping trip this year actually. I did a lot of shopping, like near-ish the end of the year. Yeah. What is this? September, I did a lot of shopping. And so many people are actually complimenting me on my outfits in New York. So I'm happy about it. Happy about it. I think that's happened. Okay. Groceries, Mexico City, another trip, and just like this everything else. I want to just see the everything else category. Like, what is everything else? Can we get. I don't like that. I really don't like this ambiguous everything else. Okay. Let's see if I can drop things I don't care about and see how they. What could everything else be? I'm genuinely like not sure. Let me actually go to my normal groups because I feel like that's an easier way for me to see things. So core spending, sinking funds, what did I do? New York, Korea, Mexico, charity event. Which yeah, I actually don't think my ticket that I paid for is going towards my giving categorizations, which is exactly what I mean. Like all of my giving right now is very spread around all my categories, and I need to centralize it for 2025. It's a mess. Um, Miami, I went to Miami. This is true. In my business, oh my God, like things you forget. You really do forget. Okay, let's, how do I go back? All groups. Let's go to my general sinking funds because I think that's where a lot of things are coming in. Oh yeah, my birthday party was like the most of this cost. What happened here? Credit card annual fee things, some health stuff, mostly my yearly gym membership, nothing else really. Hobbies. I did not cancel. It's so funny. I didn't cancel. I have like my reasons. But mostly I ended up not even buying a new computer and I had one more consultation. So upon review, like everything is right, everything's true. I'm just really surprised. And I'm actually really happy because I felt like because I haven't been separating out my giving, like I'm like not really sure how well I'm doing on that. But I think reflecting on the budget, like I think I'm doing better than I think. So that is good to see. Next categories of interest, let's select none, are my investment categories. So, oops, all groups. Let's see how much I invested this year. Okay, so I invested $9,996.26 this year. And if I put that $4,000 rollover I have into my investments, I could get it to 100,000, but I'm not going to do that because that's breaking my rules. Like I want to keep all of my free money free. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into the breakdown of that. So, standard stuff, maxed out my 401k. That ended up happening. Maxed out my HSA. Like, it's not going to look like I maxed out because my first paycheck of January maxes it out because my payroll's weird. So, that's maxed out though. Interest for my high yield savings account, I always reinvest that into the market. So, I take whatever I'm getting at 4 to 5% and put that into the market where I can be getting closer to 10%. So, I love doing that. My dividends, my cash back. Where's my Roth IRA? I maxed that out. Wanted to find that. Then I put all of the rest of these three categories into my taxable brokerage account. So let's actually just select just the categories that go into my taxable brokerage account. Well, also my cash back and interest and dividends go into my taxable brokerage account. So that's not accurate to say it's only these three. So I'll just take out these three categories. So $63,000 went into my taxable brokerage account. Um, Most of that came from my base salary, but whatever I did get paid out in restricted stock units, which I get in my company stock, I sell for cash and then I reinvest that into diversified ETF. So I got $32,000 paid out in my company stock. I took out I guess 13,000 of that for taxes and then the remaining 19,000 of that I reinvested into the market. So that is what my investing looked like this year. Let me go back to selecting all these categories because I know this number will be important. So if I go back to my yearly budget goals, I guess I'll put spending as bold. It was good. Um, I invested this much of my own money, so I am definitely over what I planned on investing, which was the $78,000. That's what I planned on investing from all my income minus my RSUs because I didn't know how to estimate my RSU payout and I didn't want to rely on it too much. But with my RSUs, I ended up getting to the 96,000, and that means I did hit my first financial goal of wanting to save 90 to 100,000. I wanted to really aim for that 100,000 because I felt like I thought the stock would be stable enough to get me to the 90,000. So I was pretty much right in the middle of that, which is really good. Now I know what I got in my side for market gains. So the next thing I like to calculate is how much of my increase in net worth, or maybe even my decrease in net worth, was due to like market gains. And the way I find that out is by looking at my increase in net worth or my change in net worth and then subtracting out what I contributed to my net worth. So to do that, I got to go into Empower. You can network track on ynab, but I just don't do it for some reason. Maybe I should. But I like using Empower because even if my accounts aren't properly reconciled and I'm like being lazy with that in ynab, they'll always have the right balance on my cash and my credit cards. But right now, as you can see, they have not been syncing with Fidelity for over a month now, like a month and a half. So, yeah, it's been a little frustrating because I can't get my actual increase in investment number, but I can approximate it. So, let's just do last year. And at least from the last time they checked sometime in November, my net worth had increased just considering my investments, $139,000. And I actually have my Fidelity open because my Fidelity has my like full net worth. Wow, I've never had this screen this big before, so I'm not used to this widget being so small, guys. Sorry about that. But maybe if I zoom in, as you can see, Fidelity is a little bit weird because I have my stock account with Fidelity as well. It shows my balance. It includes my stock that I don't have full access to that hasn't invested yet as part of my balance. So if you include that money as part of like my net worth, I would have $564,000, but I don't like to include that money because it hasn't invested yet. If I leave the company, I don't get that money, so I don't like to include it. But let's go to this 1 year view. If we look at, for some reason though, when I scroll over, it stops tracking that account. I don't know. It's a bug or maybe it's a feature, but when I scroll over, the reason why it decreases, you see that decrease? Yeah, is because it stops tracking that account. And this is why I don't just use directly Fidelity. This is why I use Empower because I feel like this is complicated to explain. But yeah, I'll just hover and show you at the end of the year. I was at $310,000, which I actually want to track. Yeah, okay, I want to actually track like January 2nd because at the end of the year, my final deposit into my investment account from 2024, it landed in 2025. Yeah, it's not pretty. I don't like that, but that's why I want to count January 2nd because it has that final transfer included in the amount. So that is actually like $314,000. Okay, let's go back to this site. So that is like $5,000 more than what Empower's tracking. So Empower's like only $5,000 behind. These numbers are like less fully accurate because these websites aren't working, but I'm just going to make do with it and put in the $5,000. So now, my gain for 2025 or 2024 was $144,000, and 96,000 of that came from my direct contributions. So I think this comma is an issue. That means over the course of the year, my increase in net worth due to just increase in the market has been $47,000. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like this has been my most disjointed process, and it's because all of these sites do not work in intuitive ways, and nothing is doing exactly what I need it to be doing right now. But that is okay. Overall, 2024, even though I missed some goals, ended up being like a good year financially, right? So, I can't be too mad about anything. I'm really just pleasantly surprised, mostly just going over my spending because I feel like, as chaotic as this year was, I feel like I really did spend in alignment with my goals. And that's just like really good for me to see. And I feel like I got to spend a lot of my family, like all of the things I was talking about in my last video, I think is actually showing that I did a lot more of some of those things in 2024 than I thought. What else did I want to call out? I know I don't necessarily like need to justify myself, but just like also give more clarity into like why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like a lot of my reason for investing heavily right now is also driven for my family because I'm still trying to get exact numbers on how much I'll need to support my parents in retirement, but I know if I can hit like even like a $600,000 net worth soon, I can make up, $24,000 shortfall in their retirement, and that would actually go a long way in like their home country because of how strong the US dollar is, all the cost of living differences, all of those things. So, yeah, that's kind of a goal that I'm sprinting towards right now. And that is why I feel so strongly about investing. And I think once I like get to a net worth where I could theoretically then like use that to serve as a nest egg for my parents' retirement, I can also like stop investing as aggressively. I don't know. I meant to make a video like totally talking all about that, but it's really hard because I want to get more precise on my parents' numbers before I make a full video about that. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to call out. So I think everything right now is feeling pretty in alignment. The main thing that I'm seeing not being good enough is spending on health. I know I just like haven't been to a medical doctor. I go to the dentist like every 3 days. Like my boyfriend makes fun of me for it, but I'm always at the dentist. But yeah, I haven't been to a medical doctor. So that's something that I'm seeing that isn't in alignment, and more so beauty procedures. Like I did spend a good amount on clothing and I enjoy fashion, and that was actually like a very tricky thing for me growing up because I was constantly shopping and spending money on clothes. Of course, cheap, extremely cheap clothes, but now I feel like I'm getting into a good place with shopping and spending, so that's good to see. What other priority group? Let's just go back to this and see. Yeah, I would say one, two, three, and four I fell short on in 2024, and I'm definitely looking to make up for that in 2025. But you know what? Pleasantly surprised by how 2024 went. Definitely pleasantly surprised. And yeah, this recap like left me feeling good. I don't know. That doesn't happen that much. So, I don't know. I was feeling really stressed last video, but this recap left me feeling good. So, hopefully, you guys are all working on your budgets, working on your money, and um, if not 2024 giving you that feeling of like, wow, things went right. Hopefully, just being in this community in 2025, we can all have the same feeling because this feels good. Okay, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.